if you had something wrong at your house, like a leaky pipe or a broken toilet, and you call the plumber and they fixed your toilet, the next time that you need a plumber, you're not going to like audition a whole bunch of other plumbers. You're going to call the plumber who already fixed it right. So people are always wondering, they think that, oh, can't I just come in and audition for that? It's like, well, they already have a lot of people who do that. So being one of the people who breaks into any sort of area can be quite difficult because they have the plumber already who is doing a great job fixing their toilet, basically. And wow, I'm relating acting to, you know, getting rid of food, but it's a suitable analogy. I mean, it really does work. I was lucky because when I got into it, I was the very first person in the entire state of Texas to be hired as a voice actor. So I wasn't really competing against anybody other than the people who were there at that audition. Now, in Texas, you have this giant pool of actors that are very experienced dubbing anime in Houston and also in Dallas. And at this point, there have been thousands and thousands of episodes of anime dubbed in Texas. So now when I'm auditioning, okay, I've got a lot of experience, but I'm auditioning against, you know, potentially a lot of other people. Whereas getting in it when I did, I was lucky. So.
How important is the agent? How important is acting training?
Oh, two different questions, the acting training and the agent. The training, I would say, is incredibly important. I don't think anybody is necessarily looking at a certain pedigree, like we're only going to audition people who went to Juilliard or something like that. And maybe when you're auditioning, they're not even looking at your resume, or they don't even know. But the fact that you have the training, like Robert said, is going to stand you in very good stead for whatever circumstance I think you come across when you audition.
Yeah, I think even the best training is on-the-job training. You know?
Absolutely.
I've never really studied voice acting. I mean, I've studied theater, but
I just like same thing.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't study voice acting. I didn't take a voice acting class.
I mean, just being, you know, doing the cartoons and different voice records. I mean, you learn something every time you step into the booth, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And there are voice acting classes out there, believe me.
Yeah,
But
there are, especially now.
it's all acting. And if you know the basics of acting, voice work is just an arm of those basics with a different concentration. You're working with words more. The words become the only thing you have.
Right, as opposed to like your physicality or your eyes or what you look like.
Have a great face for radio. What was your question
And
about
then the other
agents?
thing was about agent is how important they are. Here's my observation about that. I didn't actually have an agent when I got into voice acting. It's something that I've noticed about the specific niche of anime voice acting is that a lot of it doesn't go through agents.
Right.
I mean, some of it does, but a lot of it does not go through agents. Now, an agent, if you're going to be a professional actor, you really must have an agent because you can't only do anime voice acting. You have to be out there submitting yourself, having yourself submitted for everything you possibly can do.
I think more importantly, it's very important to have an agent if you're trying to do a commercial voiceover work.
That, yes, absolutely.
I don't think you can really, unless you're very intimate with casting directors, get even put in the door without having an agent.
Right.
For that.
Has anybody? Occasionally, I mean, okay, I'll say this. There have been parts jobs that I've done that I have not auditioned for. So I guess, in a way, yes, there have been parts that the director really wanted me for a specific role. So there have been parts that I've got that I have not auditioned for just because I guess the director was looking at a certain character and thought, you know, Tiffany would be perfect for this role, or, you know, whatever actor they wanted for the director. the best example of that for me would be Oscar in Alien. I found out, I mean, I never auditioned for that part, and I found out later that everyone else in the show had auditioned for it. But apparently, when they were going into production on the show, like every day, people were coming into the director's office all the time and saying, "So Tiffany's going to play Oscar, right?" Now, why they would assume that I'm going to play a loud, bossy, obnoxious character, I have no explanation for that personally. It's out of my hands. So yeah, occasionally, but it's not like someone's calling me, from New York or LA, from someplace far away. That's all concentrated either in Houston or Dallas, those kind of calls that I'm getting, like, we really want Tiffany Grant to do this part. I mean, did you have that experience, like with someone specifically?
More so just people bringing me in on projects that they think I'd be right for. I don't think I've ever booked a job that I haven't auditioned for in voiceover world, just because there's, in New York there's so many talented people, and who knows, one person would be right for it, someone else would be even more right for it,
Yeah.
So.
I would mean most of the jobs that I've done, I would say over my career, most of them have been ones that I've auditioned for, but just, occasionally those just happen to come up. I'll tell you something interesting though. My husband is a director, and I find it interesting to observe his process on this, where he'll go into something in mind thinking, oh, this person would be good in this role, this person would be, but then he says, but you know what, I think I'll have some auditions. And it's funny how so many of those times that he ends up not casting the person that he originally thought would play the part. So, do you get special requests?
Yeah, I didn't audition for Wowzer, Ratzel Katzel. They just gave me that one. And they just gave me Finster on the Power Rangers. It was a given that I was just...
And this was like people
Right,
that you had worked with before, and
Oh,
they
yes.
knew what you could do,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
therefore they knew that you would.
I got a lot of things without auditioning, just because there was a group of us that we all knew each other, and we knew our work.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I hear myself, I sound so much like my brother too sounds like Squeaky Frog. When I think my voice, it always sounds like this, and it's like I can't sound anything different. So like when me and my friend do comedy and stuff, I'm like, you have a lower voice than me, you sound better at this.
Right.
The rest of it, you do it better.
Sure, I think that works out the same way like in film or in theater as well, that a director is putting together a certain project, and a lot of times they will have in mind a certain actor for a particular role. I mean, not just voice acting, but for anything that they're working on. I think that might be the case. Well, for someone who's asking about someone from Wisconsin getting into voice acting, and now if you're talking specifically about anime voice acting, I have to say the current state of the industry is very bleak. Besides the training, which we've discussed, is very important. You do have to really live in the places where that work is happening, which is only a very few places where that kind of work is done. Right now, they're really not. I'm not aware of really a very few select cases where any recording is done remotely, and in those cases, it is someone who's a very, very established actor, and it's like in the case of Laura Bailey, for example, who worked with many projects at Funimation in Dallas. Now she lives in LA. If they need her to record a few lines, she can go to a studio, but that's because she's Laura Bailey, and they know her, and they've worked with her. But as far as like getting involved with it, it would have to be, you would have to live there. And the best thing that you can do if you're interested in pursuing an acting career, start wherever you are. Wherever you are, there is some kind of acting that's going on. It's at your high school, there's a community theater, you can take classes in college. If there's none of that, start your own theater company, start your own acting group, you know? You have to just do it. I mean, like he said, the best training, you can go and take classes all day long, and that's great, but doing it, there's nothing better than doing it.